Hey, everybody, this is Ken Tucker. Welcome to this episode of the Marketing Guides for Small Businesses podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about Facebook and Instagram ads. Um, Facebook and Instagram ads are really important for many businesses and organizations, but how do you know if they're right for your business? And if they are, how do you navigate all of the different choices in ad types, placements, targeting? And then last but not least, how do you deal with the Facebook ads user interface? We'll cover all of these things and more with Andrea Vahl, who's our guest today, who's a well-known and respected Facebook and Instagram ads expert. Welcome, Andrea.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, awesome. So just to let our audience know a little bit about you, Andrea, you're the co-author of Facebook Marketing All-in-One for Dummies,
hmm
and also Facebook Ads Made Simple,
hmm
which I think are both two fantastic books. As a matter of fact, I think I have one of them over my shoulder. Whoops, if I
Nice.
can right
That's
there.
shoulder. Oh yeah, look at you. You
Yeah,
very cool.
and yeah, and so I've taken some classes from you, and I've known of you for a very long time. I think through social media examiner, and I know John Janch with the Duct Tape Marketing Network has had you involved
Yeah,
with our group in the past. So and last but not least, I understand that you are a stand-up comedian.
I am. I just was performing last night, so super
Oh,
fun.
oh, nice. So
Yes.
so Andrea, tell us just a little bit more about yourself if there's anything else that you want to add to that.
Yeah. So I've been running. I started my business 14 years ago. Just starting as a doing a blog. I actually started out as doing a video blog as improv, one of my improv comedy characters, Grandma Mary, and started it out just to kind of have a fun way to do tutorials, and so it was kind of crazy. I would blog as this character, Grandma Mary, a social media edutainer, and she would get kind of cranky about social media, as we all do. But her motto was, if Grandma Mary can do it, then you can do it too. So so that was a crazy start to my journey, and I really had never intended to turn it into a full-time business. But I just noticed that I really wanted these tutorials out there. And I thought, hey, if I could help some people and make a little part-time income, selling some products about, social media training and things like that, that would be great. And as I started, it just grew and grew to the point where I got the book deal offer to author this with Amy Porterfield and Phyllis Kerr, and it just has now turned into an amazing full-time business, and I get to speak all over the world. And so, for small business owners who are just starting out, I'm always saying you never know where things can lead. And I am such a huge believer in the power of social media to grow your business.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm going to start with the first question that we have for you, and that is, what are some of the most important factors to consider when you're setting up a Facebook or Instagram ad campaign? And again, we really tailor this to small businesses.
Right, right. And do you have a lot of local businesses, or is it just kind of small businesses that might focus in a larger area? What's your
Yeah,
typical?
I think it's predominantly local business.
Yeah. So for local businesses, a big thing is just understanding kind of what you're going to be promoting and how you're going to be tracking some of that. That's the biggest challenge, I think, for local businesses. Are you getting the results? Are you seeing actual leads? Are you getting people's contact information so you can follow up with them? And if you have a local business that has some sort of lead magnet, that's really helpful, and you can then get leads that way and follow up with them. You can have an ad campaign that will get you phone numbers, perhaps get you email addresses, maybe grow your email list. But if you're more of a like service-based business, or maybe a restaurant or something like that, then it can be a little bit more challenging to track the leads. And you have to think about, how are we going to actually track that the Facebook ads or Instagram ads are really leading us to contacts and new business. So setting that up in right from the beginning is kind of critical. So with like maybe a plumbing business, for example, you might say, okay, we're going to offer a coupon, and we're going to get people's name and email address or maybe phone number, so that we can then make sure that they've got the coupon, they're booking the business, something like that. So really kind of setting up with your whole strategy in the beginning is critical, because sometimes people think, well, I'm just going to boost a post and I'm doing Facebook ads. And usually that's wasting your money.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And Andrea, great to have you on.
Yeah.
The question I wanted to ask actually flows really nicely from your answer there. What are the different types of Facebook and Instagram ads available, and
Yeah.
which ones are best suited for small businesses? Because I know, just because I'm familiar with the interface, as all of us on this are, but for the average business user or business owner, when they go into that ads interface, they might be overwhelmed by what they
Oh, yeah.
see and have no idea which one to choose.
Right. It is so overwhelming. And that's why I think a lot of business owners do think, well, I'm just going to boost a post, because Facebook makes it really easy to boost a post. And, you think, well, that's good. We'll just throw some ad spend at it to hopefully get a little more visibility. But really, the better strategy is going into the ads manager and learning a little bit about how that works, and choosing the right objective, like you said. So what I typically am suggesting for small business owners is the leads objective, if you can. And you want to know what you're offering as a lead magnet, as it's called. It could be a coupon, it could be a free 15-minute consultation, it could be a a free service or a free guide. Like, for example, I've worked with realtors, and so sometimes we're offering a free moving guide, or a free guide about the area, or a free checklist to get your home staged properly. And those kind of little free lead magnets can help you get in front of the people who are thinking about your service, thinking about your product. And then when you're using the lead objective, the challenging thing there is there's a couple of options within that objective. So Facebook is fairly complicated. I'm not going to lie. I get it. But there's a few different objectives or sub choices in there that you have to kind of decide what fits for you. One is something called instant forms, and that has a pop-up little box where people can then easily fill in their name and email address or phone number, whatever you're choosing there. And that can be a great option for people who don't have something on their website that talks more about the coupon or the free guide that they might offer them there. But if you do have something on your website that has like the coupon where people could like put in their name and email on your website, or maybe it's some sort of contact form on there, then you can choose the website option once you choose the lead objective, and send people over to the website where they can fill out the information. Hopefully you've got their contact information now, and you can follow up with them.
Awesome.
Do you have any recommendations on which you think performs better? Because like one of the things that I kind of jokingly refer to this as almost like a butt dial, where if you just use the Facebook lead form, since it's already pre-filled,
Yeah.
if you're not careful when you design your campaign, it's real simple, really easy for people to press that submit button, and you get all kinds of garbage leads.
Yeah, they are trying to like sometimes get back out of it, and they submit it, and then you call them and they're like, I never submitted that. But so with the lead form, with the instant form pop-up, you will get less qualified leads. But I definitely suggest that almost everyone use the higher intent option on that, because then they have to confirm it twice. They have to press it twice. And now you've got someone who's tried hopefully a couple times to actually get you their information. You still will get some that aren't, that aren't a fit. That happens on the website too. So, I mean, that not as often, but sometimes it's just people filling out free stuff and they don't, maybe they're not really intending to use your services or something like that. But you do, if you use the higher intent option, when you create that pop-up form, that will reduce the spam leads that you get, the junk leads that you get. So that is a good option there.
Yeah, we usually add an additional qualifying question. Like if we're doing, an ad for a hair salon, it's like, when was the last time you had your hair cut?
Right.
Or hairstyled or whatever. That way, at least they have to at least answer one question.
Right.
And not just have it pre-filled. So
yeah.
And just as a quick follow-up, just to dive in a little bit more, Andrea, for a business that's setting up the off Facebook, the web form, right, for the lead magnet, one of the things that maybe you can talk a little bit about the pixel and how that plays a part in understanding what's happening once they leave Facebook.
Yeah, so the Facebook pixel is definitely a key. And I think that a lot of small businesses, local businesses, don't use this enough. And, the Facebook pixel will eventually be going away, but right now it's still working and it's still an important part of your marketing, because what the Facebook pixel allows is just this little bit of code that goes on your website, similar to Google Analytics code if you've got that installed there. And that's just tracking the types of people who are coming to your website. And it tracks the exact people that are coming to your website, and gives signals to Facebook on who to best serve your ads to in the future. So, and it allows you also to retarget the people who have been to your website in the past. So that's really great. Although for small businesses or local businesses, retargeting is sometimes, it's sometimes a pretty small group of people, because maybe you don't have a ton of traffic on your site, but it can be a great signal. It can be a great way it's definitely a great way to track things. Like if you do have some sort of contact form on your site or lead magnet on your site, it's then also tracking the fact that those people have opted into your free lead magnet or free coupon, and you're now able to see exactly how much it costs you to get a lead. So the Facebook pixel really has these two purposes: one, to track traffic; two, to track leads and track conversions that happen on your site. And if you do happen to have, like, maybe you're a local business that has a way for someone to buy something on your website, it could track purchases as well, as long as those kind of things are set up properly with the pixel tracking code. So it is an important thing that a lot of local businesses don't do, and it's a really easy thing to get installed. You just do it one time, and then it's set in there and tracking in the future and working for you.
You explained that really clearly. Thank you.
Yeah, good. And I always tell people, I'm like, it's like those. I mean, if for people who don't understand retargeting, you kind of do. You look at a pair of pants on Amazon, and all of a sudden that pair of pants follows you all over the internet. And that's the same that Facebook can do, and maybe it's annoying, I don't know, but maybe it's working in your favor. Clearly, people are definitely need to see these messages several times before they make a buying decision. I also like to tell people, Facebook is tracking everything we do. We might as well, if we're marketers, we might as well take advantage of the creepy algorithm that they have.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of ad delivery, is there any impact about using the native Facebook lead form versus taking them off of Facebook onto a website? Because Facebook is a destination website. I mean, they really want to keep people on Facebook and keep them from going to external sites.
Yeah.
So does that have any impact on ad delivery and performance?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you are going to get typically better results if you're keeping them on Facebook in certain ways, but it's just not always possible. And it's not always like, if you've got a really great landing page that converts better, then of course you want to send them to that page, and not worry about the fact that you're, taking them off of Facebook. But the more you can keep them on Facebook, the better, the better Facebook likes it, the better results you're going to get. But you have to balance that sometimes with the lead forms that are sometimes giving you the junk leads with what you're getting through Facebook. And I've done a lot of testing, and oftentimes my clients prefer to have the more expensive but better quality leads that they're going to get from their website. So
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
always a
Thank you.
balance.
Yeah.
So, Andrea, thanks for joining us.
Mm.
So how would someone go about setting their budget for Facebook and Instagram ads? And everything's driven by algorithms these days. Is there a minimum budget that someone should have for the algorithm to optimize?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a good question because and it's like the $1,000,000 question, right? So the good thing with local businesses is it really doesn't take a lot of budget to reach your audience. And sometimes, and for sure, you can spend too much because all of a sudden the frequency is going way high and people are annoyed by your ad because they're seeing the same thing over and over and over, and it's not doing anything to help convert people. So for local businesses, you can have, once you get into like $50 a day in a small area, you're totally overspending. So you want to watch the frequency for sure. You want to make sure you're still getting the right results for you. But you can be really effective with a super small budget. Like right now, I'm running an ad for one of my comedy shows, and I'm just doing a pin drop for the comedy show location, advertising in a 10-mile radius, or I think it's maybe even like a 7-mile radius right around that location. And I'm just spending $2 a day, just to get in front of people. And really the frustrating thing about Facebook ads is that or Facebook in general, Facebook and Instagram, is a lot of times you really have to spend money in order to get that visibility. The algorithm is just terrible for organic content unless you're doing reels. Reels are like the only thing that are still getting good organic reach. Occasionally sometimes a good story will do it too. Like if you've got a really, good story that goes with your business. I sometimes release a little more personal things on my Facebook page just to get in front of people in a different way. But I'm always trying to also advertise because you just aren't getting that organic reach. So you don't have to spend a ton, but you do have to spend a little bit. And what you want to do to set your budget is kind of gauge the area. Some people are a little more hyper local. Like if you've got a service area for your, roofing business or whatever that is, that's going to be pretty focused versus maybe a larger metropolitan area where you've got maybe a couple million people and you could draw from that whole area. Then you might be able to spend a little bit more. The big thing I think with local businesses and kind of being bound by area is that you do have to rotate your creative a little bit more frequently so that people aren't, getting tired of your ads and seeing the same thing, and you want to vary up your messaging. So there is no perfect question. There is no perfect answer, but I will say one thing that people don't often do is really kind of work backwards from what their service or product or service is costs into like what their marketing budget could be for that in order to still be profitable. So sometimes people might have a $2,000 service, for example, and they're not necessarily working back on how much could their lead cost be? What does it really cost them to get that true phone call and tracking that along the way so that they really know what they could spend per lead and keep that in mind as they're doing their advertising.
Yeah. So speaking of targeting, I've read some discussions lately that talk about that you don't really need to use any of the Facebook targeting criteria anymore if you write really good ad copy and you're doing these lead ads that we talked about,
Mm-hmm.
because people will kind of self-select if it's like, hey, homeowners, do you have storm damage from the, on your roof from the recent
Right.
storms that passed through? The thinking is you don't have to target people, and Facebook targeting criteria can be problematic. You
Yeah.
can get your ads because it doesn't meet, the standards and things like that, and discrimination. And I get why they're trying to do that. And I appreciate that. So if you write good ad copy, it kind of overcomes the need to really drill down into some of the targeting and uses of the different targeting. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a couple of things that you really have to think about with removing the targeting. And Facebook has actually removed a lot of their keywords, even keywords that weren't discriminatory before. All of a sudden, you can't use those keywords, and it's frustrating. But I'm actually seeing the wide targeting work a lot better. Sometimes a lookalike audience is working better than like a totally wide open audience. So the two big factors with your results are going to be the ad copy and appealing to the right audience. The other thing is really optimizing your ad in the right way with either the pixel, the lead form. I'm with like link clicks, if you're trying to just get like high traffic, a lot of times that doesn't lead to anything. You're going to get pretty cheap clicks, but Facebook is using some of these other signals that they have to, like who's opting into lead forms or who's converting using a lead or a purchase pixel event, and serving your ads to those people first. So what happens with the Facebook pixel is that it's tracking, again, creepy place, tracking the types of people who like to opt into leads or make purchases. So it knows all of our habits and it's profiled us. And so when we optimize our ad around the lead pixel or the purchase pixel, for example, Facebook is saying, okay, we've got this audience, but we're going to take a subset of that audience and serve the ad to the people who like to take that action, whatever you've optimized it around. So if you're optimizing around getting leads or getting a registration for a webinar or getting a purchase event, Facebook is tracking the types of people who like to do those things and then serving your ad to those people first within the targeting that you've chosen. So when you have wide targeting, what you're saying to Facebook is, I trust you to show this ad to the people who are going to be most likely to take this action. And now I'm going to get cheaper results because I'm not restricting Facebook too heavily. You're allowing the algorithm to work for you, the tracking to work for you. And so, yeah, that's why the wide tracking is working really well. So if whenever possible, if you can have some sort of pixel event or have that instant forms, you're going to get better results than just sending lots of traffic. So I've tested things where I'm like, okay, let's just send the cheapest traffic there with lots of leads, lots of traffic. And then let's optimize around leads, for example, if we've got some sort of lead magnet on our website. And what happens almost 100% of the time is that Facebook will show your ad to the people who like to click on ads. Like they're like, oh, I like clicking on ads. I'm like a traffic type of person. So I'll click over there and go look at it, but I'm not going to opt in. And so you're going to get cheap link clicks that way. But if you have your ad optimized around the lead pixel, Facebook's going to say, okay, let's serve it to the people who really like to take action or to buy things. And you're going to get much more expensive link clicks, but you're going to get the true objective, the true action that you really want out of that. So that's the benefit of using the Facebook pixel, having wide open targeting, and really just making sure your ads are optimized in the right way. And I'm even seeing that with placement as well. I used to tell people not to use all placement, but I'm seeing that same sort of thing where Facebook's able to figure out the right people to serve your ad to, and so using all placement has been a good thing as well.
So if you're doing the wide targeting, I mean, part of that is that you've got to have enough activity to be able to train the Facebook algorithm to deliver the best results, which implies that there's probably some realistic minimum budget that I think at least you need to start out with, and hopefully you can dial it in and rein it in as you go because you're optimizing your campaign. I mean,
Yeah.
I would think that typically if you're in a major metropolitan area and you're trying to cover, like a quarter of it or a half of it, you're probably looking at a $20 a day minimum budget, I think, to be able to, and I think that's the thing that we get a lot of pushback from people. It's like, well, why isn't Facebook free? I mean,
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
And the reality is, I think you need to think about $20 to $40 a day,
Yeah.
starting minimum, just to be able to let Facebook's algorithm do its job.
Yeah, and there is so there's a couple of caveats to that, because you can still be effective with $5 a day. You have to have the right thing that you're kind of
Right.
working on. Like, I see people I have a couple of clients right now where they've got a pretty good lead magnet and they're getting opt-ins at like $1.50. That's pretty low cost. And so you can be effective at the $5 a day or whatever price point. But, if you want to reach that wider audience, and especially if you're, it depends on kind of what you're offering too. So,
Right.
I mean, like a plumbing or a service-based business, roofing, that's a little more specialized, right? It's not like everyone needs a plumber right at this moment, or everyone needs a roofer right at this moment. So you do have to think, okay, I will have to spend a little more to get results. You want to baseline the results you're getting for you, and again, back that down to say, okay, how many leads do we want a day? And what's making sense for us? Then we can go about setting our budget a little bit more intelligently. The other thing I was going to, I forgot about the other thing I was going to say about budget. Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to say about learning and the algorithm. A lot of times people, Facebook has what's called this learning phase, and it'll give you this like warning that says your ads aren't exiting the learning phase. And so people worry like, oh, like, should I bump up my budget just to exit the learning phase? Well, I think I think Facebook just came up with this to get people to spend more money. It is a trick, people. It is a trick. but it is because what the learning phase is you have to have 50 conversion events in a week in order to exit that learning phase, and for Facebook to say, oh, okay, our algorithms optimized. But if your lead cost is $20 per lead, for example, you've got a higher price product. I know I worked with some car dealerships where they're like, trying to get people in the service, they're advertising their services and things like that. Their lead costs are a little bit higher, but their payoff is higher as well. So, they just aren't going to be able to spend at $20 per lead. They'd have to spend $1,000 a week to exit that learning phase for just that one campaign, which doesn't make sense. First of all, from a spending point, because again, you're reaching a small local area, and just maybe not even budget wise, to spend that much. So it's okay for your ads to still be in the learning phase. And not worry about that little warning that you get from Facebook, because I really haven't seen like dramatic differences for ads that are still in the learning phase versus exiting the learning phase.
Okay.
Interesting. There's a question that keeps coming to mind because it comes up so often with my clients. So we serve B2C, business to consumer clients
Mhm.
like we're talking a lot about today, but we also serve B2B, business to business clients.
Mm.
And usually they break out into hives when I talk about the idea of adding on some Facebook ads. And they're like, whoa, whoa,
Yep.
whoa, Facebook is not a business platform. And then it follows that, well, where is your ideal audience spending time when,
Right.
when they're doing their own thing? And
Right.
oftentimes Facebook is included in that. Can you
Yep.
can you comment a little bit on that, just for
Yeah.
some of our B2B listeners out there?
Yeah. That's so huge because I just actually a couple weeks ago did a B2B training and just on Facebook and Instagram ads because I'm like, it is not, it's not a taboo place to be. I know you love LinkedIn, you B2B people, but you can still get good results over here on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, and honestly, LinkedIn ads are so expensive at $17 a click sometimes, which is crazy. But yeah, you can still be effective on Facebook and Instagram with a B2B. I always want to call it B2B business, but that's like, that's redundant. B2 business. I don't know. So it's the same kind of idea. You maybe have some sort of lead magnet, or maybe it's some sort of free phone call, or really you're kind of taking your content out there and you're putting it on Facebook. And the nice thing about Facebook for B2B and Facebook and Instagram for B2B is that you can target by job title. So if you're trying to reach C-suite presidents, vice presidents, founders, things like that, or job titles, or maybe it's HR, or maybe it's marketing, but job titles, you can target by job title. Now that is like, especially if you're targeting by job title and a local area, that may be too restrictive, because not everyone's putting their job title into Facebook, or might not know if you're that type of job title. But again, then you might be using the ad to appeal more heavily there. But you can for sure still get results. And like you said, people are hanging out there. They're looking for, posts about their kids or whatever, connecting with friends there. So it still makes sense for businesses to advertise on Facebook and Instagram. And oftentimes they're getting better results than they can with a LinkedIn ad, for example.
And retargeting just seems like a slam dunk to me. If they're coming to your
Yeah.
website already and you can hit them
Oh,
on Facebook or Instagram, why not?
right. For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And then you're really getting that visibility for low cost, because retargeting ads can be really inexpensive, because we are just saying, hey, let's target anyone who's watched our videos, engaged with our page, who is on our email list, who has visited our website, and you're putting all those people into a group and just showing your ad to those people, and it can be extremely effective.
So Ken, I used up my question on a different question. Can I still ask her my other question? All right.
You can.
No, you only get a certain allotment.
I know. I want to make sure we're doing this properly. So Andrea, how do I create effective Facebook and Instagram ads, the creative side of it? And do you have tips related to ad copy or the images or videos or whatever we're using from a creative side in order to improve conversions?
Yeah. So the copy and the images, like we kind of talked about, is becoming more and more critical with the way Facebook is, removing targeting is a little bit. So you really do have to spend a good amount of time kind of crafting that copy and trying some different images, different things. And the thing that is so frustrating to me is that I'm almost always guessing wrong on what's going to perform well. I'm like, oh, this one's going to knock it out of the park. I just get super excited. I get kind of attached to my, designs and whatever copy. I think that, this is it. This is the master. And sometimes it's like maybe the ugly ad, or the like one that just doesn't feel as effective, is the one that actually performs the best. So the big thing is the mistake that a lot of marketers make is to test a lot of different things, have a lot of different creatives to test, and make them very different. So test everything from ads with no, or images with no copy on them, to images with some copy on them, to images with all copy. There used to be, there's still a lot of people, I think, who think that you can't use a lot of text in images, but that's been long gone.
Right.
And I am finding actually that some text only images are outperforming, even when I look really cute in the photo. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not getting offended that you didn't opt in as much to my cute picture, just the one with all the copy. So try try different types of ads. The other thing I'm seeing working really well are real ads, video ads. Now, in the past, I haven't done a lot of video ads because a lot of times images have been converting better than video, but that's why you test. And I'm seeing the real style ads where you've got the longer video format there, horizontal, vertical format there. Do really well. And maybe you always definitely want to have captions on that. Maybe you've got some things that fly in and out to kind of make it a little more exciting. But sometimes it's just like someone just talking on there, and that can convert well too. So testing a lot of different images, mixing in some different styles of video, even like doing some different ways that things look, like carousel images. Like that's something I've been testing as well, where you've got like just a different look to the ad that will stop people, because the image is really kind of one of the part of the ad is really one of the things that's going to stop people scrolling the quickest. And so you want to spend some time having some different styles there. And then in terms of copy, what I'm seeing in general is longer form copy working really well. Now that can depend, it depends a little bit on your business. If you're more service based with, just try long, short, but I'm typically writing some pretty long copy for my ad that gets people pre-sold into whatever I'm asking them to do next, if it's opt in or fill out the form or give us a call, things like that, book a call. I have some pretty long copy in there that kind of dives into some of the pain points people might be feeling. You want to, use that pain, agitate. What is it? The acronym. There's all those acronyms that are like, getting copywriting algorithms there or whatever. But, for sure, dive into a lot of the pain points and struggles that people are feeling. Talk about your credentials, how you're going to help them get to the, next step, get them out of that problem, and what they need to do next.
Okay.
So, Andrew, once the ads are up and running, how do you track and improve the performance of them, and how do you measure the return on investment?
Yeah, that's always the hardest thing with, I think, especially with local businesses, depends a little bit on your process. Like, how do you, how are you tracking phone calls and where they're coming in from? Or are you tracking that you're following up on the leads and actually booking the business? It's easier if you have a website where people are making the purchase right there, because then you can set up the Facebook purchase pixel. You could put values in there so that you're tracking the fact that you have an exact return on ad spend, and you really know what's working in that case. So if you do have that, that's great. If you have a website that allows people to check out or has a little bit, has all that tracking capability, then that's awesome. If you don't, then it's going to be a little bit more manual, and you want to figure out, how are we tracking leads that come in? How are we attributing them? Sometimes it's tough because people don't even know where they saw you. They're like, I don't know, I saw you online or something. Maybe it was, so that's it. You don't really know. So you You have to make some assumptions. And the harder thing is too, is that you're not asking the client, well, was the picture of me with a puppy or was that of me, which one was it that actually had you call? So, you're not able to make as good decisions based on booked business and ROI, but you can optimize as much as you can around whatever objective you have. So if you are trying to get leads and you're just saying, okay, this ad is giving us the most leads at the least cost, that can be a good way to start. If you have, if you have something like Google Analytics with UTM codes set up where you're maybe pushing the UTM data into their contact information. And then later on, you're seeing, oh, they actually did book some business with us. Then you can go back and look at that UTM data and say, okay, it was this ad or this, this particular offer that actually had them contact us in the first place. So a lot of small businesses aren't doing all that extensive tracking, but if you can, if you can start small, that's great. Just by tracking manually. I know I've had some businesses just log things on a Google sheet and say, okay, we got this call on this day from this client. They said they saw us on Facebook. You can, say which ads were running at that time and things like that. It's a little more manual, but so I think that's the big thing, is just really setting your tracking process up ahead of time and figuring out like how we're going to, how we're going to parse that data. And sometimes it is like, it's just kind of like, hey, we're just looking at marketing lift here. Like what was happening before we started advertising, what's happening now.
Yeah. So, I mean, the easy way is, if you're doing Facebook lead ads, you can see how many people filled out those forms.
Right.
It still doesn't complete the picture because you don't know if they booked an appointment or made that purchase, but at least
Right.
you're getting something that you can measure. Likewise, if you build a landing page or you create a custom form that you put on a page, specifically for tracking, now you can say how many people filled out this form. And this is a different form than, maybe is on my regular contact page, which kind of leads me into, I suspect most small businesses aren't doing either of those. Or if they are, they're not paying attention to it. What are some of the other common mistakes that small businesses make when they're running ads? You talked about at the beginning of the show, a lot of people just take the easy way out. They hit the boost button and they think that they're good.
Right.
And that can be an effective strategy, if especially, like I think if you were a restaurant and you were busy and it was 10 o'clock in the morning and you wanted to get your daily special out there, doing a boosted post, in a 3-mile radius around there probably is a pretty good use of your time. Any more than that and you're probably wasting money. But boosting oftentimes isn't the best strategy. So what other common mistakes do people make?
Yeah, I think one of the big things is just not looking at the reports enough to understand what's working for them. And so, you can just dive a little bit deeper into the reports. Some of the things that people will accidentally do is maybe they're advertising on maybe they only intended to advertise on Facebook. They're advertising on Facebook and Instagram, just looking at some of the breakdowns to see like, where are we getting our cheapest results? How can we maximize our budget? So a lot of people are wasting money on tactics that aren't really working. So if you understand the reports though, you can dive a little bit deeper into those and say, hey, let's break it down and see what we're getting cost-wise on Facebook as a platform and Instagram as a platform. And maybe say, okay, our Instagram leads are costing us 3 times as much. Let's make sure that we're only advertising on Facebook so that we can save money, get more leads. So that's a big mistake. And it's hard. I get it, because the platform, it's almost like you kind of have to spend a lot of time like really understanding how it all works. And business owners are super busy. So in that case, if you know that you're too busy to manage it well, you may want to hire someone to manage it for you and who understands all of that and can really optimize your ad well. And that way you're not wasting money on ad spend, and you're freeing up your time. So, so I think the other thing is just not understanding the reports enough to be able to say, okay, was this image or that image or Facebook or Instagram, what was the most effective use of our money? And then how do we just continue to amplify that going forward? Only do some of the strategies and learn from the ads budget that we've spent here, so that we're, again, like making those better decisions, those smarter decisions going forward. I think the other big mistake we already touched on was just not testing enough. Like, people will try one ad and be like, yep, that didn't work, and just give up, and
Right.
oftentimes I see that it just really does. Like, you'll have a lot of duds. You have a lot of duds, and one or two things really takes off. And so it might be different offers, might be different images, might be video versus text, different placements, things like that can really make a huge difference in your results. So don't give up too early by just testing one thing and say it doesn't work.
Yeah. So you mentioned the word offer. Um, I think a lot of people, they're reluctant to provide any offers. And yet, when you look at why people like, or follow Facebook, businesses on Facebook, it's because they're looking for a deal or an offer. I mean, that's the number one reason why people start down that path anyway. And crafting an offer is critical for conversion. And a lot of people don't spend time thinking about what that offer really needs to be, and you have to think about, is it a lost leader, but it's going to lead to an opportunity for a bigger sale?
Right.
Is it, do I have a strategy if I get somebody in, for that lost leader to get them upsold to better, more lucrative services? There's just a lot of thinking that has to go through that. I think one of the biggest things that I see typically is people, they just don't assign a proper budget, and they don't make a commitment. In my opinion, if you're not going to let a Facebook or any kind of an ad program run for at least 3 months, you don't have enough data to make good decisions about whether that's working for you or not. Now, obviously there are time-driven, event-driven kind of things where that 3-month window doesn't make sense. But if you're advertising a service or something like that, you've got to give yourself enough time to see if it's working, and get that feedback, and then roll that into constantly optimizing through testing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And people don't, iterate, like, okay, we learned that particular offer didn't work, and let's track, like, okay, what was it about that? Did they get to this page and didn't opt in? What was our conversion rate? So there's a lot of factors in all of that. So that's the nature of marketing and sales. And so Facebook is no different. You've got to just iterate and test different things. And yeah.
I guess one other point too, real quick, is, Google does this, and Facebook certainly does it, where they make it easy enough for people to launch their own ads, to where I think they become their own worst enemies.
Yeah.
Like Google, with Google Ads, they'll send you these coupons, $150 worth of free ad spend or whatever it is.
Yeah.
People set up their own ads. They run an ad. They don't get any results, and they think, well, Google Ads didn't work.
Yeah.
I know Facebook is a similar experience.
Yeah. And it's funny, the number of people I talk to who are like, I don't even know if it did anything. They have no idea even what to look at, like, to know, like, they don't even know if people clicked on it or did any single little action on it, because they set it up and don't know the first thing about it. So it's hard. I get it.
Yeah.
Andrea, I know we're closing in on our hour here, but one of the things I think would be really valuable for us, but also for our listeners, we all know that the one constant with social media and with Facebook and Instagram is that it changes, that it's iterating and evolving. What are some of the latest trends that you're seeing related to Facebook and Instagram ads? And do you have any future predictions related to those as well?
Yeah. Well, obviously AI is affecting everything, but it's like, I think, working to the advantage for us in the way Facebook learns and is able to serve ads to the right people. Facebook, I joke that Facebook knows what we want to buy before we do, you know. Yeah, I mean that's a factor. I think that eventually we're going to get to the point where we're not going to even have to write our own ads, right? It'll know exactly what we want to say, how we want to say it, it'll learn the type of things that we talk about a lot, and that will hopefully be a good advantage. The big thing coming down sooner rather than later is the disappearance of the Facebook pixel. We don't have any timeline on that, but it's definitely happening sometime. And what people want to do in that case is get their conversion API set up. It's a little more involved than the Facebook pixel, but Facebook has actually been reaching out to people and saying they'll help you with that, or get someone to help you, for sure, because it is a little more involved. But it's usually better tracking, which is a good thing. Better tracking on the back end, and hopefully better matching, and then hopefully better ad delivery and that kind of thing as well. I mean, yeah, Facebook is still figuring out how to place ads in more areas, and sometimes I've been seeing ads just pop up like all over the place, and in videos on the side, and all kinds of things. They're figuring out ways to show more ads and have more placements, but that hopefully doesn't chase people off the platform. I am definitely telling people to diversify your ad strategy. Get out there on YouTube, get out there on Google if you haven't already. Look at different types of platforms. I've tried Nextdoor. The Hulu's got their own self-serve ads now these days, and there's lots of other. DuckDuckGo, which is Microsoft, but that platform was hard. That's a weird. Anyway, hello, issue there. Nextdoor, there's all kinds of platforms that are very hyper targeted and allow you to get in front of your audience, and they're worth a test if you want to just hedge your bets. Pinterest ads is another one too. I know that's not necessarily B2B, but again, people might be hanging out there, and it depends on your business. So diversify is a good way to go. Facebook's still the place number one, though. Still number one, I think, in terms of people who are logging in every day, but Google and YouTube are another great option if you haven't done those already.
Yeah.
So, what are some best practices for running Facebook and Instagram ads for small businesses? Like things that they should really be doing that maybe they're not. I think you touched on this a little bit already.
Yeah. I would say, one thing is just really kind of understanding and being a little strategic from the beginning. Like really just setting up your plan ahead of time, maybe looking a little farther into the year and saying, okay, we're going to run this type of promotion this here, we're going to run this type of promotion here, and being a little bit more strategic about the way that they're going about their ad plan. But again, still, like, best practices are really just if you have the time and are able to learn the platform, then you may be able to run your ads yourself. But if you don't have the time, don't want to understand how to run ads, or don't know how to really dive deeper into the reports so that you're maximizing your ad spend, then that might be the time to outsource to someone else and make sure that they're on the same page for how you're going to get business with it, have that strategy. And then just, again, the testing is the biggest thing for a lot of businesses, is just really making sure that they're testing a lot of the different types of ads, maybe different objectives, maybe different offers, different images, and getting down into that. So,
yeah, I think I saw Ian Zier's perk up when you said the word strategy.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're all duct tape marketers, so
Yep.
we're big believers in strategy first, and
Yeah.
Ian always perks up when we talk about strategy. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I love that you talked about diversification, because one of the things that we've seen, it's a trend that started with COVID, shortly after COVID, where it's more competitive than it's ever been.
Mhm.
Digital spaces in general, whether it's SEO, whether it's Google ads, Facebook ads, you name it, it's becoming more competitive. People are getting smarter about using the technology. And so if you're not using it yet, you could be missing out on an opportunity. We all like to talk about force multipliers as well, where, if you do it smartly, your Facebook ads can amplify your SEO or your Google
Sure.
ad strategy.
Yeah.
And so that only happens by design.
For sure. Yeah. Yep.
So Andrea, it's really time for us to wrap up. I wanted to give you a little bit of an opportunity to just kind of, let people know the best way to get a hold of you, and if you have any events or courses coming up that people might want to hop onto.
Yeah. People can connect with me at my website, which is the hub for all my things. It's AndreaVahl.com, AndreaVahl.com. And that has my courses on it. I've been developing a number of mini courses around Facebook ads for specific businesses, like local businesses, B2B. I've got a Facebook audit, how to do a Facebook audit there. Lots of different courses, little mini courses that you can take if you want to learn more. I've got access to my books there. My podcast, which is called LateStartersClub.com, is also connected there. And my comedy, it's probably terrible for SEO, actually, and my website is terrible for SEO. But you can also find out where I'm performing coming up in the Denver Front Range area. I'll be doing some other shows in Las Vegas and New York too. So anyway, yep, it's the hub for all the things. And I've got some great free guides too for people who I just updated my new 50 Facebook ads that will convert. I forgot the whole name of it actually, but it's there on the main page. And if you want a good set of examples of Facebook ads that are working, I just updated that recently. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Anything else that you think we ought to talk about real quick before we sign off here?
Yeah, I would just encourage business owners to just really, if you've tried Facebook ads in the past, tried Facebook and Instagram ads, if they haven't worked for you, I just really encourage you to come back in with a different approach, try it again with a really systematic, strategic approach, and see what kind of results you can get. Because I think you may be pleasantly surprised. I think it's a great place for small business owners to get in front of the right people with their offer, and they do well when you really optimize them well and test them well.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrea. This has been awesome. Really appreciate you coming on our show. It means a lot to us. So
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Ian, you want to take us out?
Sure. Again, thank you, Andrea. This was great. Thank you, Ken and Paul, as well. And thank you to our audience for joining us today. And if you would share this information, if you found it valuable, share it with as many people as you can. Also, check out all of Andrea's profiles and properties that she mentioned. Check her out. And until next week, keep calm and mark it on, folks.